Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandatnam, thank you so much. Thanks for wonderful Kirtan. So, Hare Krishna, so welcome all the devotees for today's Chitan Charitamrita study class. So, today is an extremely important session, and we are very fortunate to have with us His Grace Ramanuja Prabhu, with us to bestow the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Prabhu on all of us. I want Prabhu to. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu, Ramanuj Prabhu, for accepting our request. Very, very blissful to see your face and your very, very auspicious presence and auspicious. We were looking to have your auspicious blessings also. Prabhuji, with your permission, please allow me to give introduction. Rashesh Prabhu, are you there? We wanted Rashesh Prabhu to. Rashesh Prabhu is not yet joined. Okay. So I'll give a very brief introduction about Prabhuji. Actually, it is my fortune to introduce Prabhuji to the audience. He is a very great soul. His Grace Ramanuj Prabhu is a disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami Maharaj, a very famous personality. And Prabhuji is in Krishna consciousness for last 22 plus years, 23 years almost. And he is Brahmachari. He is Vice President, serving as Vice President at the ISKCON Imphal, Manipur. So he is delivering a lot of responsibilities, preaching as well as temple services. And Prabhuji has served has fortune to serve personally His Holiness Subhaksa Maharaj as his assistant and secretary for more than 7 years. And Prabhu is engaged in congregation development, preaching in various academic institutions. And he has translated a lot of books. And recently, Prabhuji has published one wonderful book called Upakhyani Upadesha, second volume. These stories told by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj. Prabhuji translated from Bengali to English. And Prabhuji is serving Manipur Institute as a facilitator for Bhakti Shastri. And also Prabhu has given his association to many of us who are in this group doing Bhakti Vaibhav. His causeless mercy is bestowing upon all of us by giving his personal association. He's like a hidden gem. You can't identify from external, but Prabhu is really a touchstone, and it is really our fortune to have his association Bhakti Vaibhav classes. And Prabhu is actually above all this Bhakti Vaibhavs and Bhakti Vedantis, and it's what my understanding, my realization. Thank you very much, Ramanuj Prabhu, for giving us an opportunity to hear from you. It's a great fortune for us, I can say, that you have accepted our request to bestow some mercy upon all of us. With your permission, Prabhu, already we went on live on YouTube. We have a separate channel for our study group. So it is already on online. Over to you, Prabhu. All yours. You are co-host. You are free to share any screen, anything is required. So thank you very much once again. Over to you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ramananda Prabhu, for your generous words. Although I am not qualified at all to be here, especially speaking about Chaitanya Charitamrita, I am very thankful and grateful to all the devotees present here. And special thanks goes to the lotus feet of our Ramananda Prabhu, Rashesh Prabhu. Is my audio okay, Prabhu?
Perfect, Prabhu.
Thank you. I attended the last Chaitanya Charitamrita class, and I found that it was really very sweet and very in depth and detailed. I was constantly reminded of those times when I used to read Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj's books on these topics. Each and every line, it was just like coming out like very naturally from Prabhuji. But unfortunately, I'm not that much well read, or I don't want to pretend to know or to be realized like that. So what I felt was I will just go through the verses and see what Srila Prabhupada has given. And then I like to bring back all the devotees to one portion in Adi Lila, where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is begging for mercy from the Lord. And in those chapters, he mentions about the wonderful glories of Harinam and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I hope this way I'll be able to please the devotees, or the Vaishnavas will be pleased with my effort. Hare Krishna. And later on, I'll just take about 4 to 5 minutes to give a brief introduction about the book which Ramananda Kanai Prabhu mentioned. These stories told by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada, which are very deep and profound for those devotees who wants to improve their bhajan. So Hare Krishna. I'll just start by chanting a small prayer from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Devotees can join me. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. So we are reading this. Give a moment. Okay. We are on Madhya Lila, verse number 72. Stamba Kampa Prasveda Vaivarna Asru Swarabhed Deha Hailo Pulake Vyapita Hase Kandi Nache Gai Uti Iti Uti Dhai Chana Bhume Poriya Murchita. There were different transformations of the body of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being stunned, trembling, perspiring, fading away of color, weeping, and choking of the voice. In this way, his whole body was pervaded by transcendental joy. As a result, sometimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would laugh, sometimes cry, sometimes dance, and sometimes sing. Sometimes he would get up and run here and there, and sometimes fall on the ground and lose consciousness. We can just try to visualize the words of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and how Srila Prabhupada has given the translations. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing all these different symptoms of ecstasy, and the transformations of the body was visible. He was stunned, trembling, and perspiring. He was fading away of color. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was weeping also. At the same time, his voice was choked. Let us see what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Purport. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 8 kinds of transcendental changes taking place in the body are described. Stambha, being stunned, refers to the mind's becoming transcendentally absorbed. In that state, the peaceful mind is placed on the life air, and different bodily transformations are manifest. These symptoms are visible in the body of an advanced devotee. When life becomes almost inactive, it is called stunned. As we know, sometimes we find that in the forest or through a forest, when some vehicle goes and at night some deer happen to cross the road or they are there. So when they see the headlight of the vehicle, the deer, they say he doesn't run away, he can just stand there stunned. So this kind of being stunned was shown by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How it is when the peaceful mind is placed on life air. That means the the body is no longer like under one's control. The emotions resulting from this condition, from being stunned, are joy, fear, astonishment, moroseness, and anger. In this condition, the power of speech is lost, and there is no movement in the hands and legs. Otherwise, being stunned is a mental condition. Many other symptoms are visible on the entire body in the beginning. These are very subtle, but gradually they become very apparent. When one cannot speak, naturally one's active senses are arrested and the knowledge acquiring senses are rendered inoperative. Kampa, trembling of the body, is mentioned in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as a result of a special kind of fear, anger, and joy. Sometimes it is wonderful to even contemplate that when the emotions of fear, anger, and joy, all this combined, then the resultant manifestation is kampa. Kampa usually it means a shivering or trembling of the body. This is called bepathu or kampa. When the body begins to perspire because of joy, fear, and anger combined, this is called sweda. Vaivarna bepathu. Vaivarna is described as a change in the bodily color. It is caused by a combination of moroseness, anger, and fear. When these emotions are experienced, the complexion turns pale and the body becomes lean and thin. Ashru is explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as a combination of joy, anger, and moroseness that causes water to flow from the eyes without effort. When, when there is joy and there are tears in the eyes, the temperature of the tears is cold. But when there is anger, the tears are hot. In both cases, the eyes are restless, the eyeballs are red, and there is itching. So much detailed. These are all symptoms of ashru. When there is a combination of moroseness, astonishment, anger, joy, and fear, there is a choking in the voice. This choking is called gadgada. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refers to gadgada ruddhya gira, or a faltering voice in Shikshastakam. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, pulaka is described as joy, encouragement, and fear. When this combined, the hairs on the body stand on end, and this bodily state is called pulaka. Gauranga bolite hobe pulaka sarira. Hari Hari bolte nayane bhabe nira. This we can start little bit contemplate that am I experiencing these symptoms? These symptoms cannot be artificially manifested. I remember one time in Jagannath Puri, one senior disciple, he was speaking to one a disciple of Srila Prabhupada that we can feel the symptom of hairs standing on end when we chant Hare Krishna, when we are hearing Hari Katha, some pastimes of the Lord. But this Pulaka Sarira is there, but this Nayane Bhabe Nila, it doesn't come so easily. So Maharaj told him that you are fortunate, at least you are experiencing this hair standing on end. But we have to continue. We have to become purified. We have to continue in this process, and then someday, that moment will come. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told of he mentioned. I mean, there's a past time when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, it tells his disciple, these two disciples, they came to Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada saying that we want to leave the moment, we want to leave this the temple, they want to go back. So Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said, why? And they told, because Guru Maharaj, we have been here in the temple, we have been associated with the devotees, we are serving you for the past 12 years. And we find that we haven't developed any symptoms of being advanced in Krishna consciousness. And so we want to leave. Ramanuja Prabhu, there is some disturbance, it seems. Could you please tell the devotees?
Sorry,
Purushottam Chaitanya Prabhu.
yeah,
Thank you.
you.
Thank you so much. So these devotees said that we are not, we don't feel that we haven't developed any symptom of being a little bit advanced in Krishna consciousness. Then the Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said, well, that means you have become advanced. How is that? Because after 12 years, you have realized that you haven't developed these symptoms. So there is advancement. There are so many devotees, even after staying for so long, they don't even realize, they are not able to realize that they haven't developed these symptoms. So at least you are advanced. And he said, Lege thaku in Bengali, Lege thaku. Just continue, just carry on. Don't leave the temple, just continue. And you'll develop the symptoms. I was searching on Vedavyas about Pulaka, and I found that there were many nice verses, and particularly in Adi Lila, which I mentioned. I'll come back to that. How we develop these symptoms when we are chanting or when we are serving the Lord. I'll just continue with the reading of the verses. After a few verses, I'll go back to that this particular verse in Adi Lila. The next verse says, Murchaya hoilo sakshatkar, uthi kore huhunkar, kohe aila mahashoy, Krishnero madhuri gune nana brahma hoye mone, shloka pori koroye nishoy. I like this tune. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was thus unconscious, he happened to meet the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, he got up and immediately made a tumultuous sound, very loudly declaring, now Krishna, the great personality, is present. In this way, because of Krishna's sweet qualities, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made different types of mistakes in his mind. Thus, by reciting the following verse, he ascertained the presence of Lord Krishna. If we are able to understand Bengali a little bit, my mother tongue is not Bengali. Somehow I learned on the way. Murchaya hoilo sakshatkar. Like murchita. Murchita means he's not very active, or like a little bit just like flower is freshly blooming. After some time, it what do you call? It becomes shriveled. So the body becomes shriveled. Uthi kore hunkar, loudly declaring, loudly speaking. Kohe e aila mahashoy. Mahashoy means a great personality, but sometimes it also could mean when you know somebody very closely, and instead of normally welcoming that person, if we say, oh, here comes the Mahashaya, or just consider, here comes the great personality that we have been waiting for. It's like it's a very close connection. And the person who is being addressed as Mahashaya, just imagine if you happen to enter a room, or if you happen to go to your friend's group, and your very close friend, he says that here comes our great personality, whom we have been waiting for, not sarcastically, then immediately we blush, or we feel this, this amount of this sweetness. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in this mood, he's telling, "Hey, Aila Mahashaya, Krishnara Madhuri Gune," sweet, by considering the sweet qualities of the Lord, Nana Brahma Hoy Mane. The within the mind, the consciousness, Mahaprabhu is feeling different kinds of Brahma. It's like Prabhupada says mistakes here. Mind is not able to decide properly. Shloka Pori or Nishchay. And sometimes one may wonder whether Krishna is there or not. But by chanting this particular verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirms. Number 74. Maroha swayang nu madhura duty mandalam nu madhuryam evanu mano nayanamritam nu veni mrijonu mama jivita ballabhonu Krishnoyam abudayate mama lochanaya. Maraha, Cupid. In the attitude of Radharani, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu addressed the gopis. My dear friends, has Krishna, Cupid personified, who has the effulgence of a kadamba flower, who is sweetness itself, the nectar of my eyes and mind, he who loosens the hair of the gopis, who is the supreme source of transcendental bliss and my life and soul, has that Krishna come before my eyes again? I was just checking the verse. Maraha Swayamnu, whether he has come. Madhuraditi Mandalamnu, Madhuryam Evanu, Mano Nayanamritam, whether he has come, whether this person, this particular person, whether, again and again. Srimati Radha is asking. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is manifesting that same the same mood. Krishna ayam abudayate mama lochanaya. In front of my eyes, has that Lord come in front of my eyes? There is, I'm reading the purport. There's this verse is also mentioned in Krishna Karnamrita. Not going to that. Verse number 75. Kivae shakshat kam dyuti bimba murtiman imadhurya swayam murtimanta kiva mano netrotsava kiva prana vallabha satya krishna ila netrananda. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then began to talk like this. Is Cupid personified present within the effulgence and reflection of the Kadamba tree? Is he the same person, personified sweetness, who is the pleasure of my eyes and mind, who is my life and soul? Has Krishna actually come before my eyes? Directly speaking, that when we see somebody and we are unable to believe, somebody we see very unexpectedly, or we thought that we will not see this person. This happens, like, I just let me come to our present situation. When we see our spiritual master, many of our devotees, like even in the Middle East, many of us, we do not always get the opportunity to see our spiritual masters. Just recently, I happened to meet His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Guru Maharaj in this room, and it was unexpected, very much unexpected. And then the way Maharaj accepted the gifts we brought, and Maharaj has this stick with silver rings, and he taps our head like with that stick. These are unexpected. And after we met Maharaj, we come out from his room, we go back to our places, and we start to contemplate, did that thing really happen? Did it took place really? So this is like certain amazement is there. So just like this, when Srimati Radharani is in the mood of Srimati Radharani, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks, it is in the mood of amazement that really has Krishna really come in front of my eyes? The is Cupid personified present with effulgence and reflection of the Kadamba tree. Text number 76. Guru Nana Bhava Gana Sishya Prabhu Tanu Mana Nana Rite Satatana Chai Nirveda Vishada Daina Chapala Harsha Dhairya Manyu Ei Nritre Prabhu Kalajai. As the spiritual master chastises the disciple and teaches him the art of devotional service, so all the aesthetic symptoms of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, including despondency, moroseness, humility, restlessness, joy, endurance, and anger, instructed his body and mind. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed his time. This verse is also interesting. Whenever we act, our senses are under the control of our mind or intelligence. We can decide to do what at what time, and we try to maintain a balance in our emotions. But in the case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when his ecstatic symptoms are manifested, all these emotions, despondency, moroseness, humility, restlessness, joy, endurance, anger, all these moods are controlling the body and mind. And he is not in control of the body, but the emotions, the mood is controlled. Take 77. Chandidas Vidyapati Raira Nataka Giti Karnamrita Sri Gita Govinda Swarup Ramananda Sane Mahaprabhu Ratri Dine Gai Sune Parama Ananda. He also passed his time reading the books and singing the songs of Chandidas and Vidyapati and listening to quotations from Jagannath Vallabha Nataka, Krishna Karnamrita, and Gita Govinda. Thus, in the association of Sarup Damodar and Raya Ramananda, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed his days and nights chanting and hearing with great pleasure. Chandidas Vidyapati, these are names which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions often. Jagannath Vallabha Natak is a composition of various dramas composed by Raya Ramananda. Gita Govinda, we know Jayadev Goswami, Krishna Karanamrita. Thus, in association of Sarup Damodar and Raya Ramananda, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada mentions in many places that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not discuss the intimate pastimes of the Lord with just anybody. Particularly, he would discuss with Sarup Damodar and Raya Ramananda. Also, it is said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had these 3.5 very close associates. 3.5. Sarup Damodar, Raya Ramananda, Sikhimaiti, and his sister Madhavi Devi. So the women is considered half. So 3.5 close associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And with them, here Sarup Damodar and Raya Ramananda are mentioned. In previous class also, Prabhuji mentioned about Raya Ramananda's his vision of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a combination of Radha Krishna. By seeing that, he became ecstatic and became unconscious because he saw that form in the form of Vishakha, when this Radha Krishna they combined. I am using somebody's office, so the phone is ringing. 70. Purira Vatsalya Mukhya Ramanandera Suddha Sakhya Govindadera Suddha Dasharasha Gadadhara Jagadananda Sarupera Mukhya Rasananda Echari Bhave Prabhu Vasha. Among his associates, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed paternal loving affection from Paramananda Puri, friendly affection with Ramananda Rai, unalloyed service from Govinda and others, and humors of conjugal love with Gadadhar, Jagadananda, and Sarup Damodar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed all these four mellows, and thus he remained obliged to his devotees. All these names, Paramananda Puri, Ramananda Rai, Govinda, Gadadhar, Jagadananda, we can discuss at length. So many different pastimes and different moods. Particularly when Gadadhar Pandit, when he was serving the Lord in Tota Gopinath house, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan, Gadadhar also wanted to join. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him to remain behind, Kshetra Sannyas. And we know the pastimes of his service to Tota Gopinath, where Lord Gopinath sat down to receive his service. Jagadananda Pandit, Satyabhama in Krishna's pastimes. We know that this Jagadananda Pandit, he brought sandalwood oil, a very rare oil, one pot of it, for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to use, because he wanted to give the best thing to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu said, "You want to spoil me? You want to spoil my sannyas by giving all this?" He asked, "Who brought this?" And he was informed that Jagadananda Pandit brought. And when Jagadananda came to know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said words like that, he immediately went, took the pot, and broke the pot in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who told that I have brought this to spoil you? And Jagadananda would not eat. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would ask, "Has Jagadananda eaten?" And only when only when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Jagadananda Pandit, and he would pacify him that why you don't eat. He said, "I'm going to eat the food cooked by you." And only then, without saying a word, Jagadananda Pandit would go and take bath and prepare the prasad, and he would feed the Lord more and more. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he would show that he is afraid of Jagadananda, and he wouldn't be able to refuse the amount of prasad Jagadananda is putting on his plate. After eating so much, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would himself say, "You see, just because of you, I have eaten so much. Now please don't give more. Now you eat." Then Jagadananda would say that, "No, I am going to feed the devotees first, and I'll eat at last." And only then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go to take rest. And even before taking rest, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked his servant that, "Please go and see if Jagadananda Pandit has taken his prasad." And only then, when the servant came and told him that yes, he has taken prasad, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would take rest. So with Sarup Damodar also, so many pastimes. And these four mellows, this paternal affection, friendly affection, service, conjugal love, all these different moods, these mellows, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed with different devotees. Paramananda Puri is said to have been Uddhava in Vrindavan. His affections with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were on the platform of paternal love. This was because Paramananda Puri happened to be the godbrother of the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Similarly, Ramananda Rai who is considered an incarnation of Arjuna, and by some, an incarnation of Vishakha Devi, enjoyed unalloyed fraternal love with the Lord. Unalloyed personal service was enjoyed by Govinda and others. In the presence of his most confidential devotees like Gadadhar Pandit, Jagadananda, and Sarup Damodar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed ecstatic conditions of Srimati Radharani in her conjugal relationship with Krishna. Absorbed in these four transcendental mellows, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu resided in Jagannath Puri, feeling very much obliged to his devotees. These words are wonderful. That how can the Supreme Lord be obliged to his devotees? Devotees are obliged to the Lord, but the Lord Himself, because of the love given by the devotees, He becomes obliged to his devotees. Text 79. Lila suk martjan tara hoy bhavotkam Ishware se ki iha bismoy তাহে মুখ্য রসাশ্রয় হইয়াছে না মহাশয় তাতে হয় সর্ব ভাবোদয় Lila Sukha Billamangal Thakur was an ordinary human being, yet he developed many ecstatic symptoms in his body. What then is so astonishing about these symptoms being manifest in the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? In the ecstatic mood of conjugal love, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on the highest platform. Therefore, all the exuberant ecstasies were naturally visible in his body. Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is removing our doubts that how these symptoms can even be manifest in the transcendental body of the Lord. Well, even Lila Sukha, even Billamangal Thakur, he developed so many symptoms because of his service to the Lord. So what is so surprising when the Lord Himself is manifesting these qualities? Purport. Lila Sukha is Billamangal Thakur Goswami. He was a South Indian, a Brahmana, and his former name was Shilhana Mishra. When he was a householder, he became attracted to a prostitute named Chintamani, but eventually he took her advice and became renounced. Thus, he wrote a book named Shanti Sataka, and later, by the mercy of Lord Krishna and the Vaishnavas, he became a great devotee. Thus, he became famous as Billamangal Thakur Goswami. On that elevated platform, he wrote a book named Krishna Karanamrita, which is very famous amongst Vaishnavas. Since he exhibited so many ecstatic symptoms, people used to call him Lila Sukha. Lila Sukha. Srila Prabhupada mentioned in one place that devotees who are eager to taste the mellows or the pastimes of the Lord are advised to read our Krishna book, teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and Krishna Karanamrita. Srila Prabhupada mentions these words. Chintamani, the story of Billamangal Thakur, we all know how he would glorify his guru Somagiri and also Chintamani. Because of association of Chintamani, he got to rededicate himself to the service of Lord Sri Krishna. Going further, text number 80. Purve Vraja Vilase Yeti na Abhilase Yatneha Ashada na Hoila Sri Radhara Bhavasar Apane Koryangikar Seiti na Vastu Ashadila. The three reasons of the Lord coming as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. During his previous pastimes in Vrindavan, Lord Krishna desired to enjoy the three different types of ecstasy, but despite great endeavor, he could not taste them. Such ecstasies are the monopoly of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, in order to taste them, Sri Krishna accepted the position of Srimati Radharani in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. this Prabhu also mentioned part of it in the last class. Lord Krishna could see that how Srimati Radharani is enjoying various tastes in just remembering the Lord, in dedicating herself to the Lord, and in doing so, how much enjoyment she was experiencing inside. Lord Krishna wanted to know. There's nothing unknown to the Lord, but the devotee's position, the Lord Himself gives the position of the devotee so elevated that Sri Krishna himself is unaware of how much the devotee is enjoying in the love for the Lord.
Hare Krishna. Can anyone hear Prabhu's voice?
I think struck Prabhu, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Prabhuji, which three books Prabhuji told just now to read this one? First, one is the teaching of the Lord Chaitanya. Other two?
Kavi Karna Prabhuji and Krishna book.
Okay, Mata.
Thank you, Mataji. Can you just remind Rashish Prabhu to call? Prabhu has joined. Prabhu, we lost you for some time.
Yes, true. Just give me a moment. Okay, let me just come back to it. Sometimes the internet connection. Sometimes the internet connection is unstable. Okay. Alright. So this mood of beg, borrow, or steal, this was also manifested by Lord Sri Krishna. He is Chaura Gaganya Purushastak. And this Chaura Gaganya, he's the topmost of all thieves. So he entered the innermost chamber of Radharani's heart, and he stole the love for the Lord, the love of Krishna. And the moment Lord Krishna touched that love, his complexion changed from Shyam to Gaura. He became Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He became golden complexion. Number 81. Apone koriya swadane shikhaila bhaktagane prema chinta manira prabodhani nahi jane sthana sthan yare tare koilodan Mahaprabhu data shiromani. By personally testing the mellows of love of Godhead, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught his direct disciples the process. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a wealthy capitalist possessing the touchstone of love of God, not considering whether one is a proper or improper recipient. He gives his treasure to anyone and everyone. Thus, he is the most beneficent. Apane kori aswadane. he tastes the mellow himself. Shikhaila Bhaktagane. That when Lord Krishna gave his teachings in Bhagavad Gita, he found that people are not able to follow properly. They were giving different interpretations and all these things. So the Lord felt that I have to come again. I have to come again to teach how one has to follow the teachings. So how can one understand what the writer feels or what the author feels? He has to see and hear from the author himself. So he tested this devotional service and Shikhaila Bhaktagane, and he taught the devotees himself. Prema Chintamanira Prabhudhani. Prem Chintamani and Prabhudhani, one who is very wealthy. Nahi jane sthana sthan, without considering proper place or improper place. Jare tare koilo dan. And anybody who comes in front, he gave them love of Godhead. Mahaprabhu Data Shiromani. Mahaprabhu is the supreme beneficent personality. In India, everybody knows of Karna as Data Karan. He gives everything. Anybody who comes early in the morning, he gives whatever they ask for. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving something which nobody has given. Nobody is giving. Nobody will give also. The love of Godhead. And that's why Srila Rupa Goswami, he says, Namo Mahavadanyaya, Krishna Prema Pradayate. He is Mahavadanyaya, not just Vadanyaya, not just munificent. He is supremely munificent. Namo Mahavadanyaya. And why Vadanyaya? Krishna Prema Pradayate. Because he is giving Krishna Prema. Krishna Krishna Chaitanya, Namne Gautishe Nama. Purport, Srila Prabhupada says. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's capital is the touchstone of love of Godhead. And consequently, he is a great owner of that transcendental treasure. After making unlimited amounts of gold, the touchstone remains the same. Similarly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although distributing love of Godhead unlimitedly, still remained the supreme owner of this transcendental opulence. His devotees, who learned it from him, also had to distribute it munificently all over the world. This Krishna consciousness movement, following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his confidential devotees, is also trying to distribute love of Godhead all over the world through the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And all devotees are engaged in these wonderful activities of distributing this love, this wealth. And one who distributes this, he himself becomes most wealthy. How he becomes most wealthy? In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says in verse number 1869 that one who is preaching about Bhagavad Gita to his devotees, one who is preaching, he is most dear to the Lord. He says that one who is giving this message, no one is there who was so there, no one is, or no one will be. So much dear to me. Nasatasmat manusheshu kashin me prikritama bhavetanasame tasmat anya pretaro bhuvi. No one will be so much dear to me than one who is preaching. So Srila Prabhupada has given us this wonderful way, in a very easy and assimilable way, that by which we can become so dear to Lord Krishna. Everyone is trying to become dear to the Lord, but Srila Prabhupada has given us this service through which, even without our knowing, even without our knowledge, we become automatically dear to the Lord. So we are so much thankful. We cannot even thank Srila Prabhupada properly. I'll read one or two more verses, then we'll go to Madhya Lila. A Gupta Bhava Sindhu Brahmana Paye Eka Bindu Heno dhana bilaila sangsare. Aiche dayalu avatar, aiche data nahiyar. Unake honare barnivare. No one, not even Lord Brahma, can ascertain or even taste a drop of this confidential ocean of ecstasy. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his causeless mercy, has distributed this love of Godhead all over the world. Thus, there cannot be any incarnation more magnificent than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is no greater donor who can describe his transcendental qualities. Even Brahma cannot even taste this drop of confidential ecstasy. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving to all. कोहिबार कोथानाय कोहिले के हो ना बुझाय ऐसे चित्र चैतन्येरो रंगा সেই সে বুঝিতে পারে চৈতন্যের কৃপা যারে হয় তারা দাসানু দাস সঙ্গা. Such topics are not to be discussed freely, because if they are, no one will understand them. Such are the wonderful pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Unto one who is able to understand, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has shown mercy by giving him the association of the servant of his own servant. This verse also reminds me of all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Many of them are coming of ripe age. Many of them are like even Srila Swami Guru Maharaj. Just to imagine that they come to Mayapur. Right now I'm in Mayapur because of devotees' mercy. And just to think that all these devotees, without considering their bodily inconveniences, they are giving katha, Chaitanya katha everywhere. And why they are giving? Just we can consider this verse that these topics are not to be discussed freely, and even I can understand this. These are way beyond my capacity to understand. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has shown his mercy that if one associate with the servant of his own servant, then by the mercy of his devotees, we are able to understand. We are able to little bit assimilate the wonderful pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purport. An ordinary person cannot understand the transcendental ecstasies in the mode of Srimati Radharani. Unfit persons who try to understand them are perverted into the Sahajya, Baul, and other sampradayas. Thus, the teachings are perverted. Even learned scholars in the academic field cannot understand the transcendental bliss and ecstasy exhibited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his pure devotees. One must be fit to understand the purport of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities. Once the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they asked him, because Srila Prabhupada told that to understand Krishna Bhakti, to serve Krishna, one has to have some sukriti, one has to have pious credits from previous lives. And his disciples in Western countries, they asked Srila Prabhupada that, well, we don't think that we haven't done any past activities to be able to serve Krishna or to be able to become devotees. So how did we get this? How did we get you, or how did we become qualified to become devotees? So Srila Prabhupada said, yes, you did not have sukriti. I created your sukriti by my association. So this now Srila Prabhupada disciples are making us qualified, even though we are not qualified, even though we cannot understand. But they are, by giving the association, by their traveling everywhere, by going to every nook and corner of the world, by taking so much trouble, they are making us qualified that at least you come up and you understand. Try to understand this wonderful ecstatic love of this love of Godhead. You get it? So they are giving us free, distributing to the most unqualified people. Unqualified means myself, not others. Chaitanya Lila Ratnasar Swarupero Bhandar Teho Tvila Raghunathera Kanthe Taha Kichu Yeshunilu Taha Iha Vistarilu Bhaktagane Dilu Ei Bhete. The pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are the topmost of jewels. They have been kept in the storehouse of Sarup Damodar Goswami, who has explained them to Raghunath Das Goswami, who has repeated them to me. Whatever a little I have heard from Raghunath Das Goswami, I have described in this book, which is presented to all devotees. The Sarup Damodar Goswami, they have got korcha or diaries. So yeah, we'll read purport. All the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were noted by his personal secretary Sarup Damodar and repeated to Raghunath Das Goswami, who memorized them. Devotees may remember when Raghunath Das Goswami he came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri by running away from home. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met him, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entrusted Raghunath Das to Sarup Damodar Goswami, who was training him, who took care of him so affectionately. So devotees came to know, or Raghunath Das came to be known as Sarupera Raghu, Sarup Damodar's Raghu. So he was very affectionate to Raghunath Das Goswami. And Raghunath Das Goswami, he memorized the notes made by Sarup Damodar, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami heard those pastimes from Raghunath Das when he came to Vrindavan. This is called Parampara system. From Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sarup Damodar, to Raghunath Das Goswami, to Kaviraj Goswami. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has distributed this information in his book Chaitanya Charitamrita. In other words, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is the essence of the instruction given through the Parampara system of the disciplic succession stemming from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'll just read one more verse. Yadi ke ho heno koi grantha koilo shlokamoy itar jane nari bare bhujite prabhu raje acharan se kori varnan sarvachitta nari aradhite. If one says that Chaitanya Charitamrita is full of Sanskrit verses and therefore not understandable by a common man, I reply that what I have described are the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that for me to satisfy everyone is not possible. Very humbly, Srila Kaviraj Goswami is expressing himself. Srila Kaviraj Goswami and one who follows in his footsteps do not have to cater to the public. Their business is simply to satisfy the previous acharyas and describe the pastimes of the Lord. One who is able to understand can relish this exalted transcendental literature, which is actually not meant for ordinary persons like scholars and literary men. Generally, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes recorded in Chaitanya Charitamrita are studied in universities and scholastic circles from a literary and historical point of view. But actually, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is not a subject matter for research workers or literary scholars. It is simply meant for those devotees who have dedicated their lives to the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These words are self-explanatory. So let me just come back to the Adi Lila. Adi Lila, 8th chapter and verse number 15. Yes. The author receives the order of Krishna and Guru. Devotees one they can also see. After discussing few topics of how others may say that by argument, by logic, one cannot understand how can one worship a deity. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says here, verse number 15 of the 8th chapter of Adi Lila. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Koroho Vichar, Vichar Korile Chitte Pave Chamatkar. If you are indeed interested in logic and argument, kindly apply it to the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you do so, you will find it to be strikingly wonderful. Why I'm referring to this is that when we go further, we will find these words, Pulaka, which we started in today's discussion. Then if we just consider Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, just consider if you are a very expert in logic, then just apply that logic to the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and you will find that it is so wonderful, so wonderful. I'm not going to the purport. Why we do not have the symptoms of ecstasy? Why there is no standing of hair when we are chanting Hare Krishna? We are chanting every day, but why we are not having these symptoms of hair standing on end or tears falling from the eyes? In verse number 16, Chaitanya Kaviraj Goswami says, "Bahu janma kare adi shravana kirtana, tabu tana pai Krishna pade prema dhana." If one is infested with the 10 offenses in chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many birds, he will not get the love of Godhead. That is the ultimate goal of the chanting. If we are offensive in our chanting, then these symptoms will not manifest. For even if we chant for hundreds of thousands of lifetimes, it's said. Hari Bhakti Sudurlabha, the next verse says, Hari Bhakti Sudurlabha. That even by performing so many activities with thousands of sacrifices, one cannot attain this Krishna Bhakti. In verse number 18, he said, Krishna yadi chute bhakti bhukti mukti diya, kabhu prema bhakti na dena rakhe no lukaya. Krishna doesn't give his devotional service immediately. But if you want material sense gratification, I have seen many times in my personal life also that before coming to Krishna consciousness, I had many material desires. Even after coming to Krishna consciousness, even after serving spiritual master, I had material desires. So, let me be very honest. But the difference is that now even this material desire comes, I feel that I should not what do you call, become engrossed in it or become absorbed in it. But the problem is Krishna knows my desire and is giving me what I want. But this makes me cry. Then why now, my Lord? Before I was desiring, okay, but at that time I was crying that why Krishna is not fulfilling my desires. He is the Lord and he is fulfilling everybody's desires, but why not my desires? And now, when I don't want those desires, Krishna is giving me those, he is giving me those things which I wanted before, and now I'm crying because I don't want them. Because these are obstruction to my bhakti, to my sadhana, to my service, to my spiritual master, and to Srila Prabhupada. But Krishna keeps them hidden. Material desires, by chanting Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada also mentions in one lecture that if we chant with offenses, then all our material desires become fulfilled. If we chant in Namabha stage, then we get yogic perfection, powers. And if we chant pure name, then we get love of God. But I find that still my material desires are becoming fulfilled. So it's offensive chanting. But what can we do? We can try. Just like we discussed in the beginning, what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said, you try. And also the point where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami said that he mentioned about Bilam Mangal Thakur. Now here in Adi Lila, he mentions about Jagai Madhai. Heno prema Sri Chaitanya Dila yatha tatha Jagai Madhai parjanto anero ki kotha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given the love of God everywhere, even Jagai Madhai God, Jagai Madhai parjanto. Up to the point of Jagai Madhai, he gave. Then what to speak of others? Others those who are devotees, others those who are pious. So they can get very easily. And text number 21 says, Swatantra Ishwara Prem Nigura Bandhar Bila Ila Yare Tare Na Koilo Vichar. We've discussed this. Adyapi ho dekho Chaitanya Naam je loy Krishna Prema Pulakasu Vivala je hoy Pulakasu. Whether he is offensive or inoffensive, it's very nice. Whether he is offensive or inoffensive, anyone who even now chants Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda is immediately overwhelmed with ecstasy and tears fill his eyes. Anybody who even chants now, either offensive or not inoffensive, if they just chant Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, immediately he becomes overwhelmed with ecstasy and tears fill his eyes. Nityananda bolite hoy Krishna premodoy aulaya sakalanga Sruganga boy. Simply by talking of Nityananda Prabhu, one awakens one's love for Krishna. Thus all one's bodily limbs are agitated by ecstasy, and tears flow from one's eyes like the waters of the Ganges. And who can know better than all the devotees present here, our Nityananda Prabhu? So much the Nityananda Prabhu Katha is told by Jayapati Swami Guru Maharaj and other disciples of Srila Prabhupada, Subhakraya Maharaj. If one hears of Nityananda Prabhu, if one just talks about Nityananda Prabhu, one awakens one love for Krishna. Amazing truths is being revealed. Krishna naam kore aparadhir vichar, Krishna bolile aparadhir na hoye vikar. There are offenses to be considered while chanting Hare Krishna mantra. One chants Hare Krishna mantra with offenses. There are offenses. Offenses are considered. Therefore, simply by chanting Hare Krishna, one does not become ecstatic. Very, very deep words. And verse number 25, it really breaks my heart. Tadasmasaram hridayam batedam yad grihamanay harinama dheyai navikriyetat yada vikaro netre jalam gangkatr hesu harshaha. If one's heart does not change, this is like, it is like a mirror for me. I'm looking at a mirror. If one's heart does not change, tears do not flow from his eyes, his body does not shiver, and his bodily hairs do not stand on end as he chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It should be understood that his heart is as hard as iron, asma. This is due to his offenses at the lotus feet of the Lord's holy names. 10 offenses we have to consider again. My tears doesn't come to me. My body doesn't shiver. My hair doesn't stand on end. So what is this verse? For whom this verse is being said? For me. It's deep. Eka Krishna name kore sarva papanas preme rakarana bhakti kore na prakash. Simply chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra without offenses vanquishes all sinful activities. Thus, pure devotional service, which is the cause of love of Godhead, become manifest without offenses. We chant, we try. Then this verse number 27. Premero doy hoy premero vikar sweda kampa pulakadi katkadasrudhar. When one's transcendental loving service to the Lord is actually awakened, it generates transformation in the body, such as perspiration, trembling, throbbing of the heart, faltering of the voice, and tears in the eyes. So Srila Prabhupada is introducing us to all these different symptoms of ecstasy, so that we may develop a desire to have this wealth one day in our journey in Krishna consciousness. I'll stop here. Is it okay, Ramanuja Prabhu?
Hare Shobhadaratnam. Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, supposed to talk about the book also.
Yes, I prepared one small small PowerPoint. I can just share that as a screen. I can show the devotees. Is that okay?
Yeah, Prabhu.
Just give me a moment.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Till the slideshow comes up, oh, it's already come up.
Yeah, please tell
I
me.
just want to, Prabhu, इधर मीरा रोड टेम्पल में हूँ मैं. I think the darshan में close. Can I just show darshan for 1 minute?
Okay.
Yeah, bro.
Are you able to see?
No, bro. Prabhu, you think you have to disconnect this
You see-
sharing? Sharing your disconnect, bro.
Yeah, now we can see.
Prabhu can remove the sharing. Sharing still there.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we can see.
Yeah.
Jai Sri Gauranta ki jai.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. That's good now.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, you see.
Okay, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. I'll stop the audio and video.
Thank you, bro. Okay, sir. Prabhu, you can.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. This is the book Upakhane Upadesh. Is this? Okay. This is a compilation of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada's stories which he used to tell in his lectures. So the Upakhane Upadesh, Akhyan, these are short. These are stories. Upa means small, short stories. So, short stories. Upadesha means instructive stories. So Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada used to tell many types of stories. These stories were compiled in 2 volumes. The first volume, Upakhane Upadesh, the first volume consists of mostly light-hearted or humorous stories. This has been presented as comics by many other devotees. So the second volume is more deeper, more philosophical. It is from Puranas, from Mahabharata, from Narottam Vilas, and these stories are given there are good morals, good purport is given at the end of the stories, which are very good for all devotees who want to improve their bhajan, who want to go deeper into the philosophical understanding of Krishna consciousness, who want to improve their own devotional service. So the first volume was published in 1940 in February, and also the second volume also came out in the same year. So Srila Subhak Swami Maharaj, he instructed me that we were in Indonesia at that time. So the devotees, they translated the first volume into English and they appreciated a lot. So Maharaj told that the first volume is already out in English, but the second volume is still in Bengali. So if somehow we can bring this out in English, then so many devotees can become benefited by getting access to this book. And those devotees who cannot understand English, once it is done in English, it can be translated into various other languages. So this is one paragraph from the book. I'll just read out. Just as Srimad Bhagavatam has become much more realizable, having come out from the mouth of Srila Sukadeva Goswami, the ever-empowering words of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, which destroys all anarthas, unwanted things within the heart, in the form of Bhakti Siddhanta Upadesamrita. This word was used by the person who compiled this Upadesha, this Upakhana Upadesh, he is one disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So it turns out the essence of the scriptures in a way that is enjoyably thought-provoking and practically applicable for the experienced and common men alike. A sadhaka, practicing devotee, will certainly be inspired by this book to mold his life in pure devotional service. And this is one, I found this in one purport of Srimad Bhagavatam. There are many stories in the Puranas that are intended to interest ordinary men in transcendental subjects. But actually, these refer to real facts. They are not to be considered stories without a transcendental purpose. Some of them refer to historical facts. One should be interested, however, in the real purport of the story. Indirect instruction is quickly understandable for a common man, but those who are not interested in hearing directly about the activities of the Lord or who cannot understand them can very effectively hear such stories and fables. So this is how I wanted to introduce. And if I just show, this is the book in hand. What kind of this?
Jai Ho.
Hare Krishna. So that's all from my side, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, and thank you so much to all the wonderful devotees here for patiently allowing me to serve all of you, even though I'm so much unqualified. If there's any comment or question, I'd like to take. If I know something, I'll try to answer. Otherwise, I'll refer back to Ramanuja Kanai Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Ramanuja Prabhu, for a wonderful, thought-provoking session today. Very practical, and you made us to deep dive into the pastimes which we are discussing, Lord Chaitanya Prabhu and associates. And really, I can say that every statement what you're making in the process of explaining the purports of Srila Prabhupada was conveyed so interestingly that even a neophyte devotee, I say that will be able to cherish the sweet pastimes of it's all the pastimes. Yes, as you are mentioning about the logic, because these are all you are showing that Madhya Lila 8th chapter 15th verse. If I remember correctly, you showed that as one very, very practical, apt for us to understand that trying to understand Lord Chaitanya Prabhu through logic is impossible, because absolute truth is beyond the logics. One cannot, because we cannot make the Lord to act as we think with our mundane senses. With our mundane senses, we will never be able to understand the pastimes of the Lord, because his pastimes, there is no restriction. There is no hindrance for him to do any pastime. So if we try to understand, oh, how can this happen? Oh, that can happen. That is beyond logic, because Lord is beyond logic. This actually we can understand only through wonderful devotees like you today, how you explained, and you made really, I can say that you made our consciousness to prepare to welcome our forthcoming Gaur Purnima festival. It's like before we Jagannath comes to Gundicha temple, how everything is cleaned by Chaitanya Prabhu. Now that is what the process you did for us. That before we welcome Lord Chaitanya Prabhu on his appearance day in next 3 days, you made our heart clean, like how Lord Chaitanya Prabhu cleaned the Gundicha temple. So you cleaned our heart so that we can welcome Lord Chaitanya Prabhu into our heart. And thank you very much, Prabhu. And for the benefit of other devotees, mainly those who are in Madhya Pradesh, we are fortunate that we are getting few copies of the books which Prabhu just now showed. Or dear Rakesh Prabhu is coming next week to Madhya. So he has kindly consented, agreed to bring some copies, very few copies he's bringing. Those who, I'm talking about mainly in Madhya devotees, those who want can contact me or Rakesh Prabhu directly. So Prabhu will bring some books and will distribute in Madhya. So I request that everyone to, because this book is very interesting and very useful for the preachers mainly. Once we understand and the mood of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, then conveying this message through stories will be very, very effective. And I request every preacher, because almost every one of us in this forum are preachers, to try to make use of this wonderful opportunity, and also spread this message to your near and dear about this book. So Prabhu has done wonderful job, and he is trying to fulfill the instructions of his spiritual master for the benefit of every one of us. So again, humble request for everyone to take this message seriously. And Prabhu will, I'll also share the link of the book if somebody in India or other parts of the world you want to get this book. I'll share the link in our CC group, so that those who are not in Madhya Pradesh or those Madhya Pradesh want to get the books in India, either you can contact Prabhuji directly, or you can also access through the link. I will share the Prabhuji's number in the group, and also the link for the book to order. So thank you very much once again, Prabhu.
Thank you.
I request devotees, if you have any questions, comments, and take advantage of Prabhu's presence before we end the session. Any questions, comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Pranam. So Prabhuji, first of all, I pay my obeisances to you, because I heard so much of His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami, and Prabhupada used to say, my era is over. The next era is of Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami. So I really, by seeing you, because Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami is also from Manipur, and you are also from Manipur. So I read his books like Savigyanam. It's so much, it is very difficult to understand. Also, because he is a scientist, he was in USA. And also Sripad in Switzerland, his disciples wrote that book. So I read something. And I am associated with the ISKCON Bulla in Odisha. And that temple is basically Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami dedicated that temple. So I am very happy to see you, Prabhu. So thank you very much. Prabhuji, just I have one question here. It is mentioned the effulgence, Lord's effulgence is like the Kadamba flowers. So can you just describe why it is compared to Kadam flowers? Effulgence, Lord's effulgence is Kadam flower. Is it Brahmajyoti like Kadam flowers? I do not know. This is just query.
Thank you, Bir Krishna Prabhu. In Manipur, we also have one Bir Krishna Das. He is a very senior devotee, and now he is a disciple of Srila Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, and he is a sannyasi. Rather, he is the senior most sannyasi in ISKCON. He is 95 years old. He can't see so much, but his consciousness is so clear. So now his name is Bhakti Vyasa Tirtha Swami. So by just seeing your name, I was reminded of Maharaj. I was expecting that this question will not come. I thought I would just skip it aside. But I heard from some of senior devotees that yes, just as Prabhuji mentioned, that the Brahmajyoti is like Hiranmayena. It is it is like a golden effulgence. And if anybody has seen this kadamba flowers, when they bloom early in the morning, it's so beautiful. The radiance, it is so calming. So Lord Krishna, I haven't read it in a scripture as of now, but I've heard this, that the Lord Krishna's effulgence, the Brahmajyoti, we can say, it is like the golden color of the pollens of this the kadamba flowers. So I heard like that. Thank you very much for bringing up this. I hope you are satisfied.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Any
much.
other-
Prabhu. Any other question? Comments?
If I may, before concluding the session, may I just refer back to Ramananda Kanai Prabhu? Prabhu mentioned that our heart is cleansed, just like Gundicha Marjan. I'm so much thankful to Prabhu and other devotees who are present here for giving me this opportunity of glorifying Chaitanya Charitamrita in Mayapur Dham just prior to Gaur Purnima. It's like something unimaginable. So I don't know about others, but just contemplating on your words, Prabhu, then I'm sure that at least some portion of my heart must have been cleansed, and I'll be able to participate in Gaur Purnima festival this year in a much better way. Once a devotee in Manipur, he is also a disciple of Shla Chapada Swami Guru Maharaj. He told me that when he came to Mayapur first time, he was very happy. He saw the Panchtattva, Singhadev, Radha Madhav. He was so happy. And when the day when he was about to leave the temple, he went to Panchatattva courtyard, and he said out aloud to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, "My Lord, today I am going back to my home. I am never coming back to Mayapur again." So why anybody would say like that? Then he said that, no, I was thinking that I will not. Today, my consciousness is like this. So the person that I am now, today, right at this moment, the person I am now, this person will never return to Mayapur. This person, I will return as a better person, not the same person. I'll become a better person and come back to Mayapur. So I hope I can emulate these words of such wonderful devotees. And thank you so much, Prabhu. I'm really indebted to you for introducing the book. I was thinking, how am I going to distribute this? So many devotees are helping, and many devotees, many of Prabhupada disciples, I was giving them as presents, and have really given me their appreciations, all these things. But it is not my work. It's just extension of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada's words through the purpose of Srila Prabhupada. I have included purport from Srimad Bhagavatam, just so that devotees will find it easier to correlate and see the purport as a complete whole. So thank you again very much. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. This book definitely will be successful because of only one reason. Can you guess what it is?
Please tell, Prabhu.
Because you have followed instructions of your spiritual master. That's it. Because
I agree.
that will empower. This is exactly like what Srila Prabhupada was always mentioning, that when he was spreading this Krishna consciousness in the West, somebody was trying to give credit. Prabhupada, you've done a wonderful job. He said, no, I didn't do anything. That's my spiritual master. So that empowerment makes us to do wonders. We think it's wonders, but it is only because of the empowerment comes from the spiritual master and the acharyas. So your abundant mercy of your spiritual master and the whole parampara upon you. So I'm sure that this will be a great success. and the message of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur will reach to many thousands and millions of people around the universe. Thank you very much. Thank you very much once again. Prabhu, can you please glorify Chaitanya Charitamrita? This is our usual standard before we end the session. Just speak a couple of words about glorification of Chaitanya Charitamrita and the author. Then we can conclude the session.
Yeah. Srila, thank you, Prabhu, for reminding. Srila Kaviraj Goswami, he mentions these words, and it is very close to me also personally. He says that I am much lower, much degraded than the worm in the stool. Purusher kit hoite muishe lagist, jagai madhai hoite muishe papist. Then I am much more sinful than jagai and madhai. If anybody takes my name, then his punya, his past activity is diminished. If somebody takes my name, he incurs a sinful reaction. So these are words spoken in Vaishnava humility. It doesn't mean that Kaviraj Goswami is like that. He cannot be compared to woman in stool. But when the Vaishnavas are saying like this, they really mean it. They feel this like within their heart, and in that humility, they are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This Trinada Vishnu Chena Tarori Visheshna Amani Namani Kirtane Sarahari. They're able to chant the name of the Lord. So this cannot be imitated. But through Chaitanya Charitamrita, this we are given some glimpse of these wonderful qualities of our devotees. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he mentions that he has selected only those pastimes which were not given in other literature, like Chaitanya Bhagavat or Chaitanya Mangal. That otherwise it will be repeated. So he says that I am very old, and I think I will not be able to complete. If I'm not able to complete the Chaitanya Charitamrita because of my old age, so I am just giving some essence, important parts, important portions, so that devotees can derive the ultimate benefit. And in Bhubaneswar, when Srila Prabhupada was writing the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he also mentioned he mentioned, I can't remember whether it was Bhubaneswar or somewhere else. One devotee asked to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, you haven't finished Srimad Bhagavatam, but you are writing Krishna book. Why is that? So Srila Prabhupada mentioned that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami said this thing because I am getting old, so I want to give the essence before I leave this body. Srila Prabhupada said, I am also getting old. I don't know whether I live for long. So even if I don't complete Srimad Bhagavatam, if I am able to give Krishna book, then devotees can derive the full benefit of reading the Srimad Bhagavatam just by reading Krishna book. So similarly, Srila Prabhupada, so much mercifully, he has given this explanation, the purpose of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Otherwise, just if we begin to imagine, suppose Srila Prabhupada did not give us Chaitanya Charitamrita, where will we be? Jadi Prabhupada na hoito, tobe ki hoito. Even if Prabhupada is not there, if Chaitanya Charitamrita was not there, how we are going to develop this devotional service to Krishna? How we are able to see where our goal is, where we will reach? We will certainly be, what do you call, we will be bewildered, or we will not be able to understand the goal. You see, when we go on a road, if we understand the destination, if we see the goal, then we can walk on the way with full enthusiasm. But if we do not see the goal, we don't know where we're supposed to go, then we will be just walking around in circles, and we will not be able to go back to Godhead. So we're so much indebted to Srila Prabhupada, the previous acharyas, for simply giving us Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is a completion in our devotional service in a way. So even all of Srila Prabhupada disciples, they are encouraging the devotees to do Bhakti Vaibhav. Recently we saw His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj getting the Bhakti Vaibhav certificate. And Maharaj is also encouraging all of us to do Bhakti Vaibhav, then Bhakti Vedanta, even go up to this Sarvabhauma studies. So these are all waiting in line. So we should be eager to proceed further, so that at least we will be able to release even a drop. Then once we get that drop, once we are able to release, then we'll be able to distribute to others. Just like if we get 10 rupees, we can distribute 10 rupees to others. But if we get only 10 rupees, how can we give 11 rupees? So at least if we get this drop of understanding from Chaitanya Charitamrita, then we'll be able to little bit preach in the mood that Srila Prabhupada wanted to preach all over the world. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. All.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thanks for a wonderful closure. So this with this we'll end the session here. Thank Ramanuja once again. We look forward to have your association coming days, months, more and more. So please be merciful upon us. Without any hesitation, give your mercy to us. Thank you. Thank you.
I cannot give mercy, but I will do one thing for sure, that all our devotees who are present here, we are 27, it shows. For all of us, I'll definitely pray, and also for our Bhakti Vaibhav group, I'll definitely pray here to Sri Chaitanya, to our to Pasitattva, to Narsinh Dev, to Radha Madhav, and to Srila Prabhupada.